My name is Rafa Esparza. Many of you know me as a friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, but that's not all I do in our sport. I'm a jiu-jitsu commentator, broadcaster, photographer, meme maker, analyst, writer, coach, tournament producer, and occasional athlete therapist. I know, it's weird. I've worn many hats in jiu-jitsu, but the one that I cherish the most is serving as a host. We have done some incredible things over the past 4 years on this show, but starting this Tuesday, we will roll out a brand new experience for fans of the Grappling Hour. Going forward, we'll be offering 2 membership-based offerings. Tier number 1 will give our fans early access to my interviews. Tier 1 members will have the ability to see my interviews a month before they're released to the general public. And as a topical show that has a track record of being the first destination for some of the biggest names in our sport, you won't want to miss out on those. Members of this tier will also have access to audio versions of this show in the event that they don't want to see my face, which I totally get. Each month, subscribers will get to see 4-hour-long interviews. Tier 2 members will not only have early access to my interviews, but they will also get to see brand new content that will not be available anywhere else. New premium content includes bi-weekly podcast minisodes. These episodes are designed for the grappling superfans who want in-depth discussions with our guests on topics ranging from greatest losses to opponents that competitors respected the most. Topics will be explored for limited runs, anywhere between 4 to 10 weeks, and will give the featured guests on each episode an opportunity to share the type of unique insight that either gets lost or overlooked in most other interviews. Drill Sessions, a monthly segment where friends and guests of the show will share short videos of the techniques and sequences they're currently drilling in their gyms. Swept Under the Mat, never before seen behind the scenes footage from the Grappling Hour archives, and short videos and vlogs from the coverage that I do at various MMA and grappling live events. Members will also be treated to show bloopers and occasional clips of my own training sessions. There's also going to be a live chat dedicated to members of this tier that will answer questions ranging from just about anything you guys want to throw at me. And finally, members of this tier will also have the ability to pitch mini-sode episodes and occasionally submit questions for upcoming guests. To become a member, head on over to hi.page/Grappling Hour. You can also find the link for that page in the description below. Now listen, I know there are a lot of you who may not be able to afford these subscription tiers. That's why it's important to me to still offer some content for those people who want to support the show, but may not have the means to do so financially. So for you, we're still going to offer a condensed weekly version of the show. That show will give you the first 10 minutes of my interviews, and a month after that episode is released to our early access and premium subscribers, they will be unlocked on our YouTube page. In return, all that I ask is that you subscribe to us here on our YouTube page and that you continue to like and share the content that you enjoy on our page. I know money is tight for everybody right now. The last thing you want to do is thinking about having to invest in another subscription-based service. But I hope that you see the value in the types of interviews that I do. I hope you see the consistency of my coverage over the past 10 years, and I hope you see the overall vision that I have for this show. I have never been short on ambition. And for the next phase of this show, I'm taking a pretty big swing. So with that, I'm going to need some support. I hope that you'll come with us and help us become an even bigger and better show. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for even watching all the way to right now, even if you do nothing. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats. Neighborhood BJJ podcaster Rafa Esparza coming to you with a great live installment of the Grappling Hour. It is a pleasure to see you guys. Hey, before we even start, shout out to the homie, the friend of the show, Cody Steele, picking up a big win at Fury Fighting. Love seeing that. Before we even started this, literally the last thing I did before I started working on today's episode, saw my man get a sick KO, knee, knockout. Dude, woo, don't feel good for that dude. Sorry. But Cody's family on this show. So much love and respect to friends of the show on this. So We've got a great guest. You know him. You have seen him on this show previously before. However, we're going to get to him in just a second. A couple quick reminders. One, if you love us, we're going to try this one out, see if this works. Hold on. Does this? Bam. Look at that. Hi.page/grappling hour. That's the way that you can support us here on the show. I can't believe it went to the low grade version of my, let me see if this is better. No, we're stuck on this. Go support us over at hi.page/grappling hour. It's supposed to be on the higher quality camera, but instead it did my Mac. Womp womp. All right, back to me. High quality. Bam. Hey, so if you want to go support us, you can see these interviews that I normally do 30 days before anybody else. You watch them, you become a member, and supporting me helps to support the athletes. And if you want to pay a few extra dollars per month, you can check out some dope technique breakdowns, tape studies. We also have a segment called Roast Wrath, where people actually, like athletes, important people, roast my competition footage. And it is very funny because, I went through a table recently. So what's not to laugh at with that? Actually, a lot is actually able to laugh at on that one. All right. And join us on the Discord at Grappling Hour and like, subscribe, share. Let's get to who you're really here for. Today, I'm very happy to bring back a friend of the show. John has been somebody who has been tirelessly raising money for good causes every time he gets on the mats. And here's the thing, this man is a very busy human being. So if he's getting on the mats to compete, he likes to make it matter. He likes to make it for something, and he puts on a show. He's an excellent grappler, and he's somebody who every time he has a big announcement, he's kind enough to go ahead and include us. And so today, I thought it would be kind of cool to bring back John on the show to tell us what he's got up next, up his sleeve, because let's be honest, normally around this time of the year, something happens in November. I'm not always sure what it is, but why don't we go ahead and bring back one, John Valentine, to ask, John, what is happening? How are you? And what's coming up in November that we can know about at the very least right now, sir?
First and foremost, thanks for having me back on the show. I was a big fan before I ever got the opportunity and the honor to be on your show. But I do have one thing I'd like to say first to all your viewers and fans. I don't know if you can see that. It says I love Raph. So I want to make sure that everybody can see that first. So that's me showing my love for you. But hey, thanks for having me on the show again. So yeah, got a lot of good, exciting things to talk about today.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know that I've ever gotten a very nice letter. Most people draw things that we have to blur out, and it's very hard to blur them out when we do it live. But that was the kindest thing I think we've ever had on the show. So, John, when you messaged me, you said you have something up your sleeve. Maybe we don't know the exact date, but what is coming up and what are we to expect? Because we may have something else to talk about very shortly, but I want people to know right away what's coming up and what are you up to, sir?
Sneaky stuff. I'm up to sneaky stuff. No, everything is about build up, and I think this event is going to be Randy Couture's charity event for the troops. And once again, it's going to be an amazing event. Every year, we seem to break ticket sell records. We seem to break records of income bringing for the veterans. And this year is going to be no different. The only difference is this year I'm likely to lose, or I'm going to try not to, but I got a really tough opponent in front of me, and the guy's a legend, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be right off the strip, live on national TV, and I'm going to take my 52-year-old bones out there and see what we can do. But it's going to be an exciting event.
John, it's incredible to me that you mentioned that you are 52 because 52 looks pretty good, my friend. I am just over 40 now, and I hope that I can look as good as you. What's the secret? How are you staying so young, sir?
Well, I got a message from my opponent who's going to be. I think he's joining the show unless he had something more important to do, which he probably did. I'm not very important, but this is a text message from him earlier today. It says, "Hey, congratulations on your new sponsor." And I text back. I'm like, "Which sponsor?" He's like, "Botox." He's like, "I look forward to it." So, anyways, he's already started the little chatter here and there. He's a good guy, so I plan to welcome him to the show in the best way that I can when he comes on.
Well, I think we can make that happen, but before we look to reach out to him, that's how you know this is true television, guys. We'll see if we can get
Yeah.
him. I'll talk to my producer and see if we can hunt him down. But I want to ask this because this stuck out to me. I want to get a confirmation on this. Has the organization, and this is something that I read, has it raised over $500,000 since its inception? And if
It
so,
has.
it's done that from the grappling side, or has that been grappling and fighting? Like, how has it been able to reach that much? Because most grappling can't afford anything. But if you're raising over $500,000 for a good cause, it shows that this organization and you guys are really, really putting out a very top tier and quality product.
Yeah, when I say we raised, which is really, really important, it's not me. It's our fans. It's the people that support us. It's everyone who's watching this right now. Those are the philanthropists. It's not me. I get to go out for one night and have fun for 9 minutes, but I'm not raising money. The troops, we're raising money for the troops, but everybody who's watching this are the difference makers. But yes, the organization as a whole, since inception, it's well over $500,000. On the grappling side, I have raised about $50,000 just in 5 grappling matches. So I average about 10,000 a year in ticket sales and sponsorship. So, which isn't bad for a grappling match, I would say.
Not at all, man. And I mean,
Yeah.
when you're comparing that to how right now we're starting to see records being made with the UFC, with John Jones and Stipe now going for as high as 100,000. I always like to say, if you see the tides rising on MMA, it just means that you're on the floor work of helping us to rise that price so that it especially can go for a good cause. So kudos to you. Kudos to all those people who have been coming in and donating and really, really helping this good cause, because
You know,
the
Raph,
fun part
I
is
don't think
the
people
competition.
realize. I don't think I don't think people realize the grassroots effort and the service that you provide. You get the message out there. So without your help, without your giving us a platform to share this stuff, we wouldn't sell any tickets. We'd sell a few, right? It'd be knocking on doors, sending private messages. But you and the efforts that you do, I do applaud those. You have been a big integral part of my journey, of our journey, and you've been just been a great friend of Randy Couture and the show. So I can't thank you enough for this that you do, the provide the service that you provide, and then giving myself and my opponent, my arrogant opponent, who's going to come on in a second, the opportunity to talk about our causes.
So you mentioned this arrogant opponent, and to me,
He's
I
not. I'm joking. I'm joking. He's really not. He's not. He's a
no,
legend.
no.
He's a great guy. Yeah, he's not.
I mean, there's no better way, honestly, to get to the bottom of this than to bring on the person themselves. So why don't we go ahead and bring in Weston Barnes? Weston, I have to ask this. You don't look like an arrogant guy to me. You look like a very chill,
He's not.
calm dude who's resting on a Sunday after a long day, but you're still at work, sir. So what's going on in your life right now?
Oh man, I just got done getting my ass kicked by my teammates for half the day. So yes, I'm tired and I'm resting, but I'm happy to be on your guys' show. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Weston, let me ask this. I know that, you know, John is very good at getting under people's skin and kind of getting people excited about events. When you hear him do these lines and say these things like, oh my God, let's get this going and let's call an arrogant opponent, and he's joking facetiously, what does your
Yeah.
brain go like? Because you fought MMA, so you've actually had people like this, I'm sure, who have said way
Yeah.
worse in your time.
Well, to be honest, in my 15 pro fights that I've had, I've really never had um, people that had bad intentions or nothing. I've always got along with most of my opponents. I'm not very good at trash talking, but John's good at it, but he's better at jiu-jitsu, I'll tell you that. But than trash talking. But yeah, I'm just excited, man. I'm excited to get on mats with them, and yeah, excited.
So let me ask this: between you guys, how did you get involved in this match? Where did you come in, and where did you find yourself able with this opportunity? And I'm sure that you jumped ahead and really wanted to get involved with something for a good cause. But how did you get involved, Weston?
Yeah, I can. If you
Yeah.
don't
So
mind me,
what?
Weston, I can take that one. So I
Yeah.
sat on.
Yes.
I sat on the board, and I really wanted a legend. I wanted to fight somebody who was great. Weston, and I know you're going to get to it. And again, you're right. I am kidding with most of the things I say about Weston. He's a really, really. If you look at his story, he's a really, really remarkable guy. But he was instrumental when I was coming up in the regional scene in MMA and fights and stuff. And he was already well established. He was a guy I looked up to. And I'm like, holy shit, if I get a chance to compete against that guy or fight that guy, it'd be great. We never fought in Utah. We probably should have at some point. I think our weights were a little bit off. I think he was a
Yeah.
35 pounder at the time, and I was a 45 pounder. So we were off by about a division. And then we got an opportunity to the board. And so they connected us, and here we are. And I get an opportunity to literally, and what's beautiful about it is we both have causes and we both love the military. So it's nice to actually get in. I'm giving him a hard time, but it's nice to get in with somebody who has a love for military people than like I do. And I'm really excited about this match.
Yeah, and I
Weston,
appreciate it, man. I really do.
Weston, tell me a little bit from your perspective. When did this come in on your side? Because obviously that's got to be a great vote of confidence for people to be like, hey, this dude would be a great person to help headline one of these major shows. So what did that feel like to get that call? And what did it feel like when you said, all right, we've got a gamefo, we've got a match to get ready
Let's
for now?
go. Let's go. Yeah, it felt great, man. I was excited. You know, I started my own gym, a couple years ago, and my fighters have just been out here kicking butt, man, and it just gives me the itch, man. I wanted to compete. But I'm not as old as John, but I'm up there. I'm probably like 80 in fighter years. He's probably like 90 in fighter years. So, he's got me a little bit there, but yeah, I just got the itch, man. I love to compete, man. Even if it's just, I'm not really a ground guy. I mean, I'm a striker at heart. But I love to do things to raise money for a good cause. I do several charity events at my gym. Like this summer we did a car wash at my gym, and we raised close to $3,000 for one of our teammates' nephew that had cancer. He's battling cancer. We raised $3,000. I love to give back to people. And this sport is what kind of led me to that. Just being in this sport, it kind of makes you humble. It humbles you, and I'm excited to give back to the troops. I love the military. My father was a Vietnam veteran. I had several uncles in the military. My nephew is in the military currently. So yeah, I love it. I'm excited.
That's really cool to hear how all of those things kind of come together, because I'm sure, and you guys can tell me this because this is something I experienced from a regional competition scene, which is there's something different about when you get a little bit older and you're competing, which is that you actually get really excited when other people sign up for the events. Because I
Yeah.
notice on the master side, I literally go up and I'm like, dude, thanks for making this happen, man. Because if you weren't here, we wouldn't have competition. And there's almost this camaraderie that you wouldn't find in your earlier days of competing. Is that something that you've seen, Weston, when you've been on this like competition side, both regionally and professionally?
Oh yeah, for sure. Combat sports is really, it's like its own brotherhood, especially around, East Idaho and Utah. Everybody knows everybody for the most part, and everybody has respect for each other. That's the main thing about martial arts is people think it's a bunch of thugs that just like to beat people up, but really, in all honesty, most people are super humble. Most of the stuff you see, like Conor McGregor, all that's like that stuff's all fake, man. Like most people we're pretty chill, man, and we have respect. So that's my personality. That's how I've always been. I've never been, mean or nothing. So
I mean, hey, God bless, because that's kind of the way how things are going right now. Is you're definitely seeing a lot
yeah,
of these kids looking around and being like, "How do I get under this dude's skin?" I know I'm
I
a bring up the
clearly, I'm
fact.
clearly failing. I'm clearly failing tonight, Ralph, with to get under Weston's skin.
yeah,
So
you can't, bro.
I've got to get you.
Yeah, you can't. No.
So let me say this.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can help rabble rouse here, because I write jokes when I'm not doing some of this stuff for other people. And when that happens, the first thing, John, if I'm you, I'm looking over at Quest and I'm thinking like, well, first of all, you got to make fun of the hat. Like, let's be honest. My man's bringing
Thank
a
you.
hat on the interview. It's like he wouldn't be allowed in church right now. You'd be like, sir, you're walking into a fancy restaurant. Second of all, you'd look over for things like distinguishing traits. Like you'd look over at the neck tattoo and you'd be like, hey man, how many
Bro,
sessions?
that is a that is a level that's a level that's dangerous, right? Because you want to say something, but you know if you do, he's going to kick your ass. So you're like, it's one of those things that you got to be very, very careful on how you approach it, right? You're like, do I say something? Do I not say something? You can't. But yeah, to your point, yeah,
I
it's
mean, but
good.
Only
here
criminals have tattoos.
let me point this out as well. This
Yeah.
is this is just the comedian speaking in me. If you see somebody this smiley, you're in good shape. Like, the fact that my man has such a good sense of humor, this is my favorite person to kind of roast, because it shows me, when it harkens back to our early days with Verbal Tap Cast, which was, you could make fun of these Ultimate Fighter people, and there's a difference between saying like, you suck, I hope you die, and then like when we'd write jokes about the guys, we'd be like, yo, this dude's takedown is worse than Lindsay Lohan doing this, and then they're like, oh, they're not really making fun of me, they're having fun. And before you knew
Yeah.
it, we had people who wanted to line up. Now let me go ahead and do
Yeah.
the reverse. If you, Weston, we're looking over at Robert, or I'm sorry, why did I say the guy from
Uh,
Shark Tank? I wouldn't call John
Oh no, here he
the
goes.
guy
Go
from
ahead,
Shark
Weston.
Tank.
Let it go.
oh, what's his
Let
name
it go.
again? Oh, John. Yeah, that guy. Okay. I know what you're talking
Let
I
it
about.
just
go.
every time I look, every time John messages me, I honestly feel like somebody from Shark Tank has messaged me, and I start thinking like, "Yo, do I have to wait for Cuban's offer now? Like, how does this
Yeah,
go?"
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, like what's he
John,
up to?
John's got a good look though, man. I'm just saying, he looks like he could be on
Yeah.
TV. So these are
Yeah.
ways that you could go about your thing if you wanted to do that. But
Go
you
ahead,
guys are
Weston. Let it fly. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean the Botox sponsorship. Like, I just want to know how you got that. Like, how did that happen,
Jesus,
bro?
Jesus Christ, man, man,
Yeah.
oh man.
How did that
Yeah,
happen?
no, it's
That
because
Botox money's
I
real.
take more time. I spend more time in a spa and a med spa than I do actually training. So more selfies than I do actually on the gym. So he's on it. He's on it.
let me ask this. Okay, if I'm looking at you guys both on the side, here's the good news. And this is so you can tell I have no tattoos on my body. I would be like judging and be like, let me see his arm sleeve. Yeah, all right. Is that a
Hey,
big mouse? So I'd be doing
hey,
stuff like
Weston, I
Hey,
that.
just
John's
got a
got some
butterfly tattoo
tattoos.
on my back in your honor.
John's got some tattoos. I've seen him.
Are there any you don't
He,
like?
he says that he told
John's
me
tattoos?
yeah, I'll show you the text. I'll show you the text. He actually sent me a text and said, "I bet your tattoos have Taylor Swift's name written on them somewhere." Actually wrote the text.
Oh, I wouldn't be
Right?
surprised, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. I know that's your favorite artist. Her and Britney Spears, I'm
Man,
sure. Uh,
man.
that's right. No judgment here. No judgment here.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, listen, guys, it's the eras. She's making a lot of money, so I know there's a lot of people who are watching this going like, I like
Don't
Taylor
let his
Swift.
facade fool you. Do you see how he's poking the bear? Like I'm sitting here as the old guy with an AARP card, and I swear to God, if he fucking lays a hand on me in November, I'm gonna file harassment or assault against a elderly person. I'm not fucking around. Like he needs to
you,
just
you
keep
better
his
get your
distance.
old folks home ready. You better go start searching for the old folks home. I know that. Someone's gonna have to take care of
So
you.
Man,
let me ask this,
man.
Weston. Okay, so before we get to a little bit of your origin story, I kind of want to kind of hone in on a little bit of what you see about each other. Let me ask this, Weston, what do you expect from John in your upcoming match? Like, what do you think that he's going to bring? Because there's all this pomp, there's all this circumstance. Yeah, it's fun trash talk, but like at your core, you're both competitors. So
Yeah.
it's always fun in games, but there's always a real competitor behind all of this. So what do you
Oh
expect
yeah.
from John when you guys are about to compete against each other in November?
Well, I expect him. He's strong. He's fast. He's great on the ground. I expect all that from him. Um, but I don't I don't do anything to lose. Anything that I'm doing, if I'm competing in martial arts, combat sports, I'm competing to win. Like I said, I'm not really a grappler at heart. I'm a striker. But I've worked on my ground game a lot. I trained at Jeremy Horn's gym for about 5 years. I learned a lot from Jeremy Horn. My ground game's pretty good too. And I'm strong too. But I know he's strong. He's got good technique, and he's relentless. So I know he's relentless. I'm gonna expect that.
John, I'm going to ask you the same question about your opponent.
Yeah, I think when I look at Weston, and Weston would understand this, and if you've never actually been in an MMA fight or you've never been in a street fight, but probably arguably an MMA fight, there's this moment in time when you step on the scale and you look at your opponent, and then there's this really weird soul sucking moment where you realize, holy shit, this guy's like all in, right? Or you look at them and you look at their belly and their belly's moving, so you know they're nervous, right? And you look at a guy like Weston, and there is not an ounce of fear in this guy's body. And that guy will not let up unless he's going to be dying. And he's very big, he's very strong. He does what people post about when they want to get an Instagram follower for 5 or 10 people. He trains every day. All right. So this guy isn't, yeah, he has other jobs, he's doing things he's doing, but this guy is committed to the art. That is a scary, scary individual. And I know that when we square off on Fremont Street in front of national TV, I guarantee when I look in his eyes, there's not going to be an ounce of fear because this guy's dealt with things in his life that I'm just a I'm just a free trip to Vegas, if you will. This guy is going to be powerful, relentless, and I think he's sneaky as fuck. I think he's got tricks up his sleeve that he doesn't talk about. He trained with arguably one of the best grapplers in the world in Jeremy Horn in 5 years. So you can't tell me he doesn't have tricks up his sleeve, and I know he does. So I think he's playing coy. It's totally fine. I'll play coy too, but um, he's not going to get in my head either. So he's got to know that on in November, arguably potentially November 11th. I can't give that confirm or deny that date, but arguably in November 11th, I'm gonna give him exactly what he wants. I'm gonna give him the best version of myself, and I expect that he's gonna do the same for me. And whether I win or lose, or he wins or loses, the troops are gonna win. He's a very ominous looking individual. You saw his poster. He's the guy when you go down the grocery store aisle, you kind of you go to you go to cereal aisle and you don't really eat cereal because you just want to get away from him. So he's that guy.
I don't know,
So
man. From all of this, and I don't know, Weston, your situation, but you look like somebody I would grab a beer with and be like, yo, you're my pal. Now, granted, you're also the guy who's going to beat me up when we're in a cage, but okay. You seem like a good guy. Weston, now that
Good.
we have the chance, you mentioned that you have all these other things that you do. Before we went on air, you were talking about the fact that you also own a gym. Do you mind telling me where your gym is, a little bit about it, and how you came to becoming a gym owner?
Oh yeah, so when I retired, I think I retired in 2019 from MMA. I missed it too much. I needed it in my life. So I kind of just I got some wrestling mats and some wall pads and put them up in my garage, and I started just training kids and stuff. I had like 5 students to begin with, and then it just kind of blew up. I moved in. Then I'm like, okay, I need to get a bigger facility. So I rented a spot out and built my gym from scratch. Just me and a couple close people. We built this thing by ourselves, and it's grown a lot now. Here we are 2 3 years later, and we got championship level fighters. We got a good crew. I teach kids, you know, and it's just I have to have mixed martial arts in my life at all times. I just have to, and that's kind of where it started from. I just wanted to do it, because I knew I couldn't compete anymore. So I just transitioned to coaching, and I've loved it. But now, like I was saying before, now that I see all my guys out here winning and stuff, is give me the itch, and I've been wanting to do something. My body's kind of beat up a little bit, so um, I I like grappling match would be perfect. I've never done a grappling match. I've never competed in tournaments. I've always just done no gi. I've never done the gi system or nothing. So it's just an experience that I'm excited for. And I love my gym. It's like a second home to me. I work full time and I run the gym too. So I'm a busy man too, just like John. So
yeah,
I see
yeah.
that. And I'm
Uh,
curious about this because, obviously John is very good at business on his side, and I think this might be a good way to connect between the two. But what have
yeah.
you learned the most from the business side or even from the organizational side that you've learned in becoming a gym owner? Because I would love to kind of get a perspective of where you came from and what you've learned along your journey so far.
So sorry, I also forgot. My gym's called Team Lionheart MMA, and we're in Idaho Falls, Idaho. But yeah, so I would say the biggest thing is, I just started small. Like I said, I started in my garage, um, and I would save up money to buy stuff. The biggest thing is the people that you have around you. The people that come into my gym, because it's not a fancy gym. We kind of got a Apollo Creed gym. But those are kind of the best. It keeps guys hungry. We don't have all the fancy equipment and stuff, but we have what we need. And the most important thing that we need is the brotherhood and the hard work ethic. Like, my guys are workers. My coaches are top of the line coaches. Like, they're so experienced, super knowledgeable. And the business side of it, I don't really, I don't really make too much money. I still have to work full time. We're hoping to expand and grow so I can do this full time. That's my dream. To run a gym full time for a job. We're not quite there yet, but we're working on it. But it's just an amazing experience. I love it. Great.
That's awesome. And kudos to you because, dude, legitimately, anybody who knows what it's like to actually open a gym knows the trials and tribulations you go through. And there's so much trial and error and trying to figure it all out. So I applaud you and trying to do it while also doing a full time gig and working elsewhere. It's a type of commitment that sometimes students don't know when they walk into these areas and these moments. What I would like to know, though, in terms of this, you mentioned that you had some guys who were looking to fight very soon, and that was sparking the itch. So, where are your team members, or where are your guys looking to fight, and what is coming up next for them? Because, in a way, they're very much responsible for this grappling match that you're taking, and that's got to be a great reflection of the energy you're picking up from them.
Yeah, we got five guys fighting here in Idaho, or it's in Fort Hall, Idaho. Got five guys on the same card, so it's going to be a busy night for us. Our heavyweight, um, he's the main event. We also have four other fighters fighting. We're on a winning streak right now, and we've won how many? We won like five straight, five in a row. First round finishes. We've been on a roll. Our guys are hungry. And we're looking to take over. Eastern Idaho, at least all of Idaho, the Northwest. I feel like we got the biggest talent around. And we're ready to prove it. We're ready to prove it. We have been proving it, and we're ready to prove it. So October 27th is going to be a big night for us. That's going to be a statement for us. Like I said, we already went five straight. Now we go five more wins. That's 10 straight. You can't really argue with that. So I'm excited for it. Excited.
And I love the timing of that because the timing of
Yeah.
that is October 27th, which is about a week, maybe a week and some change before you get to make your way onto the mats to face John. So I think that timing that's going to be motivating you. Uh, Let me
Yes,
ask this,
sir.
John. It's been a while since we've chatted, and I want to go back on over to you. What has been new in your training? Like, what has been going on with you? Because similar to Weston, you're busy all the time as well. So, how are you able to find time for your training, and what has been clicking for you most lately, sir?
Yeah, I think more of a well-rounded approach. So, and by the way, Weston and I are not going to be on a mat. We're going to be in a cage for 9 minutes, locked with a
Yes,
nice
sir.
tank pin on national TV. So we'll, if you've never been inside of a cage, it hurts when you get pushed against it. It's a galvanized fence, and it's very painful. It's very, very painful when you have bare feet and you touch it. So we're not sitting on a grappling match. We're not. This isn't a wrestling match. And I'm sure Weston wants to pick me up and slam me. And if I get a hold of him, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to walk him to the center of the fucking cage and slam him in front of everybody. But that doesn't matter. The point is, what I've changed my training. Uh, Weston is a mystery, right? So the way that you've always trained and the way that you've always prepared for people, now all of a sudden you're like, well, what the fuck do I do? I got a guy who's a legend in the sport, a guy who's trained for arguably 10 years. He trained 5 years before I even started as a pro. He's a very I don't the training program that we're putting together is really has to be a mix of everything, because you don't know what a guy like Weston's going to bring you, because he's not going to tell you. All right, he's not the he doesn't roll out the douchery that I do every week on Facebook, posting selfies, right? And I do that arguably to sell tickets and do that stuff. But this guy is very calculated. So we have a game plan. I would tell you that we have a game plan. It's well balanced. It has to do with a lot of cardio and stuff like that. Where it's 9 minutes, it's going to be neither one of us are going to rest. So I don't need to go train for a marathon because it's 9 minutes straight, right? So we just need to be able to get in there and get it done. But I would tell you, Raph, prior to when we had Jeff Carson and other matches that I fought, I was very specific and granular and laser focused on what my training plan was. I had to open it up with a guy like Weston Barnes, because Weston Barnes is not a one-dimensional fighter. So I'm going to give him the courtesy and the respect to train all of the things I need to do to prepare for him. And yeah, I don't know what he's going to bring, but I guarantee you this: he's not going to tell you. I guarantee you that he's not going to say shit. He ain't going to post it. He's not going to glamorize it, but he's going to work the shit out of it. And on November 11th in 2023 on national TV, he's going to bring it. So I've got to be prepared for all
Like, hearing this gets me very excited for this match. And I have to be honest, we don't always get the opportunity to put the folks who are going up against each other on the same show. So whenever we get these opportunities, it's very dope, because I find myself being like, oh, that's dope. Oh, that's great too. I'm excited to see this go down. And I'm not the only one. We just got this note from Vinny that just said, extremely excited for our charity event. These two will bring fireworks. God bless our troops. So thank you very much, Vinny, for watching along. We appreciate that. And I have to say this, like, when you guys are putting these things together and there's always fun, there's something I want to know, Weston, which is, you may have more experience going into fights in areas that weren't your hometown. Did you ever have that experience in your fight career where you were fighting on somebody else's turf? Because this right now, when you go to Vegas, that's home base for John and his team and his family. So I know that man's going to bring a lot of people to watch, and they're going to get rowdy. So for you, have you ever had that experience? And if so, or if not, are you prepared for that kind of energy when you show up on his turf?
Yeah, that's been my entire fight career. In Idaho, well, half my fight career. In Idaho, there's not very, we just barely started getting fights going on down here. So I'm used to traveling to, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, fighting the hometown hero. All my guys are used to the same thing too. It doesn't really affect my training. It doesn't affect how I perform. If people boo me, if people are cheering from him and not me, like that, none of that stuff even registers to me. The only thing that registers is my mission to destroy my opponent. That's it.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. I had
Mhm.
to format this because it's a very actual long phrase that somebody sent on over. So my apologies for this. But Rebecca brought in a very nice note, and I want to make sure I get all of it in here. So when I publish this, you'll understand why. Rebecca chimes in and says, "You gentlemen are amazing. When people come together for an amazing cause and do it for the love and compassion for those who put their lives on the line, there is nothing that we can't achieve. So many of us want to give back and are unsure how to do that. I am so thankful to have the opportunity to be a vessel for those who want to be a part of something bigger and to become a sponsor. And by giving back to our amazing men and women who have given so much of their time for our safety, go Team Valentine." So, I'm sure even when you're listening to this, Weston, you're kind of like, yo, you're not team me, but like at the same point, at the end of the day, when you guys finish competing in those 9-10 minutes, you're going to be back on the same team of doing something for a united cause. And I think that's so remarkably great because, you know, it's such a rare thing. You don't see this in so many other events. You know, you might see people be like, hey, after the Super Bowl's done, we donated some to like kids or something or whatever. What's the
Yeah.
new disease? You know, at least with this, it's built into the hype, and the hype is doing it for this. So I'm very excited to see those kinds of
Hey,
things.
Raph, real quick, can I just give a shout out? Rebecca raised $5,000 last year. Okay, so this is someone who is an individual contributor. She has a day job. She's a mom, as well as many of the people that are following me live that are also just average people. Being a philanthropist doesn't mean that you fly out on a private jet and donate $1 million. A philanthropist is anybody who gives time. Weston's giving time, effort. Weston's giving effort, right? He's and all of those things for something bigger than themselves. That makes Weston a philanthropist, and it made Becca a philanthropist. She raised $5,000 last year for last year's event. So thank you, Becca, for chiming in. And I assure you, you'll have a fan in Becca and Weston. She's already probably a fan of him already. She's doing that
Yeah.
obviously to promote the fight, but she's a fan
Thank
of what we're doing. So I really appreciate
thank
you chiming in, Becca. Thank you for the kind words.
That's so
Yes.
cool. And she sends in a heart as well. So like, listen, I love the fact that she's coming here and she's definitely giving us a lot to look at. But let's do this. I want to, I've never gotten the opportunity to talk with you before, Weston. So there's a thing that I like to do on the show where I like to ask people if they remember their first day of grappling class. So because fighting was more in your realm, it might be a little bit mixed in with like a martial arts class into itself. But if you can, take us to the first time you remember being in a grappling specific class.
Oh man. Um, so kind of like I think John kind of hinted to it. I had three professional MMA fights before I even stepped into a gym. I didn't even train at all. I just went in there and fought. Never fought amateur. Then finally, I won a couple of them. I had some talent. I won a couple fights without even training. So, my cousin who kind of got me involved in all this stuff, um, he's like, maybe we should get you into a gym. And he recommended Jeremy Horns. He's like, dude, Jeremy Horns like a legend, UFC legend. So I went over there and trained. I remember the first day like it was yesterday. Um, I went in there and I grappled with Demarcus Johnson, who was on The Ultimate Fighter, UK versus US back in the day. He was he was the first person I grappled against, and he didn't take it easy on me. He didn't take it easy on me at all. And then I remember this too. He's like, "Oh, have you ever fought before?" Like I'm like, "Yeah, I got to fight next week." He's like, "What? What are you even doing here? You're supposed to be resting. Like, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got to fight in like 4 days." And I was fighting at 145. I weighed like 138. He's like, "What are you doing, man?" I didn't know about cutting weight. I didn't know about any of that stuff. I went there and fought. The first time I fought, I just did it because I wanted to make money, honestly. And I want to try it out. I didn't know I was going to keep doing it. I thought it was going to be a one-time thing, but when I went in there, I fell in love. I fell in love in that moment, and it stuck with me to this day. But yeah, my first grappling, and I remember Jeremy Horn making fun of me too because Demarcus was throwing me around like a rag doll. So, but yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of that gym. There's some super super high quality grapplers at that gym, and that's what I learned. That's where I learned most of my ground game. You know.
Weston, you kind of alluded to this, but I always like to ask people when they fall in love with jiu-jitsu. And for you, it seemed more like the whole encompassing mixed martial arts. However, you said you fell in love with it right then and right there. What was the appeal to you, and why did you fall so deeply in love with it? Because it's one thing to go, oh, I think I'm going to do this for a bit, but this has become a lifestyle, a business, and more than just a hobby very quickly for you. And even to today, where it's become a huge part of your life and one that you're helping to fulfill for others. So when did that happen, and what was it that drew you in at that point then?
It's really hard to explain in words. It's the feeling when you get in there. it's a feeling like John was kind of saying. You look your opponent in the eye, and it's it's natural human nature, to be violence, control violence. It's in our nature, and if you can control it, it's really the best feeling in the world. It's better. It's the best adrenaline rush. And a really, really good part of it also is it's always been, at least for me, it's afterwards, after we fight, even if we beat each other up, um, it's a commometer. How do you say that word? It's like,
Camaraderie?
yeah, yeah, that word. Yep, yep. It's like that, with your opponent most of the time. It's like a brotherhood. You have respect for each other afterwards, and yeah, it was just that's what it was. It's hard to explain in words, but it's just a feeling that you get when you're in there, So
John, what is going to be your version of camaraderie with Weston after this match? And
we're
how do
gonna
you
party.
see that for you?
Yeah, I mean, after one or both of us beat the shit out of each other, hopefully nobody gets hurt. It didn't happen last year. I wanted to have a really, really good after party with my opponent, and unfortunate things happen. Sometimes it's our sport, but uh, Weston and I have had brief interactions on Facebook and some discussions about the match and the approach and stuff. So I'm excited about that. But I think the camaraderie for me is that I get a chance to step into the cage. I get to be that guy who gets a chance to step into the cage against one of the guys he idolized, right? Coming up through the sport. So that to me is a huge camaraderie off the bat, right? So now I get an opportunity, win, lose, or draw, to step out of that cage. See, when the 9 minutes hit, Raph, when the 9 minutes hit, yeah, we want to talk about the troops, but when the 9 minutes hit, it's about him kicking my ass and me kicking his ass. When the 9 minutes are over, it's about celebration of what we have done. And what we have done is we've helped, not we, everyone who's watching this has helped together collectively to do something amazing. That camaraderie, I plan on going out at one of the after club parties with a club and taking him out and his family, having a good dinner. If I lose and I can barely walk or talk, then he has to take me out. And so that's an important part. I wanted to come back to a question, Raf, that you asked about what I changed differently in this match compared to others. And I would say the last 5 years have been this really big. And Weston, maybe you can speak to this, maybe you can't, but MMA is an interesting animal that when you start off, you do it for different reasons. Maybe you do it for money. And I would love to sit here and say that I've never fought for pride. I've never fought for ego. Never had to fight for money, but I fought for a lot of reasons that are soul draining. And that is the absolute truth. And I'm not embarrassed about that. I'm never going to get that money back when I fought that way. But this is the only time that I've ever felt completely connected to something bigger than me, that takes me out of the equation. Take away the selfies and all the stuff that we do to promote the fight, but this is really important. So the way I've trained differently in this one is I've really centered in on my purpose, the people around me, your people, your person, all the people that love you. And I looked outside of something that had anything to do just me. It used to be so exciting to get your name on a poster, a picture on a poster, and that's not what it's about. It's about what we're actually standing for. And Weston is a prime example of that. And maybe Weston, you want to speak to it, but we've all been in this ego realm in this sport. And then when you finally get centered on what matters most, it's a beautiful thing, man. It allows me to go in
It is.
clear conscience and give him the best version of myself on November 11th.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially when you get older, as we age, you start to do things more for a purpose, for other people instead of, when I was younger, first starting out, a lot of it was ego. I wanted to be a badass, be on the poster, blah blah. You know what I mean? I'm an MMA fighter, blah blah. Now, that's why I'm so excited about this event, because it's for something better and bigger than us, and there's nothing better than our troops, there's nothing more important, especially the way my father died. I want to raise awareness about how we should be treating our veterans, so that I really appreciate John for bringing me on to this. It was like perfect timing. It was like it was meant to be, man. It really was, really was.
Weston, I don't know that you're here to talk about any part of that, but when you mentioned something happened to your father, are you okay explaining what happened to him? Because to me, I don't know exactly what happened with your dad.
Yeah.
So, what specifically did happen to him, and what kind of awareness are you trying to bring to that?
Yeah, so my dad was a Vietnam veteran. He fought in the war, and how the he marched through the waters and got hepatitis and Agent Orange. He eventually died from it. My dad kind of shied away from me because he had real bad PTSD. And I remember finding out that he died. Someone contacted me. I was his next of kin, and I had to go and clean out his apartment and clean all his stuff out. And he was living in a studio apartment with bed bugs. He was sleeping on a sofa. There was no air conditioning, um, and he died alone in that horrible place. I went through his bank account and stuff. He didn't have any money. Like the VA didn't really, he needed to go to the VA for his appointments, but he had no way to get there because there's a VA in Boise and there's one in Salt Lake, but he never had money to travel there. So, he just kind of sat alone in his own little hell and died like that, and I don't feel like any veteran, especially a combat veteran, should die in that way. So that's what I'm dedicating this fight to, is my father. It was sad. It was horrible, and I don't ever nobody should ever die like that, especially a veteran. So that's kind of what's got me excited about it too. I want to raise awareness about that stuff.
Well, let me just say thank you first and foremost for sharing that. But
Mhm.
second, I feel like it's so commendable that you're able to still find a positive side from that, because a lot of people could go through something, that kind of experience, and be very very anti whatever it is, but instead you
Mhm.
found empathy and you found an ability to say, I don't want someone else to go through this, because
Yes.
so many sons who would have their parents be wrong could hold that, and it could bitter them, it could make them harder to deal with, and yet
Mhm.
here you are on this card for a good cause, and I'm sure in your head hoping that you can prevent whatever that is for the next generation, so that they don't have to endure that, and that you can be doing your small part to give back. And
Yeah.
I truly want to acknowledge that and say thank you so much for doing that, man, because it's definitely tough to do.
Yeah. Thank you. No problem.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
I
Yeah. No.
so hold on, let me figure out what the best transition is from that, because there is no good
Right.
transition from that. There is no like,
I
well,
know,
womp
right?
womp. Uh, I
Okay.
just I think it's always important to acknowledge it, and I will. Alicia has the right thing. Alicia says, "I love how humble Weston is," and I have to say, I'm with you. I want to also bring up Yashil B. Burke says, this is going to be one of the best. A fight for all the amazing men and women that have fought for our freedom. Our heroes, go get them, Team Lionheart. Austin Valentine. I think this is a broad audience. I don't want to say that this
It's my
just
daughter.
magically happened. But
It's
Austin
my
says
daughter.
it's gonna be a good fight. So between that and Kyle, go Team Valentine, let's go, Dad. You got a lot of people. Oh no,
That's my son.
Kyle's looking right back here. Everybody's chiming in now with much love for
Yeah.
Weston. See, look at all of this. Everybody's bringing in
Yeah.
so much natural love. I want to make sure that we get cameras on all these people at the actual venue, so we can juxtapose the comments of I love this person with like hail him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
having said that, you know, I like the journey that both of you have gone on. It couldn't be two more different narratives or experiences, and yet here we are with the two of you guys able to share through a collective of jiu-jitsu for a good cause. What I would like to turn this around to now is, I got the chance to get a little bit of this from Weston, and John, you did kind of answer this, but I guess the question is, why now? Like, what does jiu-jitsu mean for you now, and where do you see it meaning to you in the next 2 to 3 years? Because what I find so great about our experiences is, John, this is almost like 2 3 times in a row that we've gotten the opportunities to do this, and I get this sense, for as long as you can, you're going to be trying to do these things. And even if you're not on the mats, I think you're going to be a big part of trying to help raise awareness and do things behind the scenes. So, what do you think jiu-jitsu means to you now, and what is it going to mean to you in about 2 to 3 years?
Is that for Western or me,
That's
Raffin?
you.
What does jiu-jitsu mean for me now? Well, what it means, I think when it started, when you're a white belt, all you care about is getting a stripe on your white belt, right? I think when you're a blue belt, all you want to do is get another stripe on your blue belt. You want to move up, you want to advance. So when you walk into the gym, you look great with your blue belt. And I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 18 years now, 18 years, 18 long years. And I have not lived up to the legacy of a black belt. I don't feel as of yet because a black belt, you should go back to being a white belt. You should go back to being learning all the things you need to do. And being a black belt is about service and giving back, I would say. It's about giving back to students, knowledge. That's what being a black belt's about. It's not about being the highest ranking person when you step on a mat or being the coolest person because you have a black belt, right? It's about giving back. And I look back on my journey, and while I'm super proud of the last 5 years, there's things about being a black belt that I'm not proud of, right? I've trained sporadically throughout the 5 years. When your teammates need you, and Weston understands this, are you only showing up when you have a fight, right? Are you that guy? And there's been times when I've been that guy for the last 5 years. And this year, I'm recommitting to the things that are important. Obviously, our charity events and all that. But as it relates to jiu-jitsu and a black belt, it's recommitting to your team and the people that stand by you, right? And I become far more introverted now as I'm a black belt. I look at all the things I'm not doing versus the things I am doing. I really don't give a shit if I win or lose on November 11th. I really don't care. I just care about what I'm doing and what we're able to produce on that night for the troops. But I have an obligation to my team as a black belt this next year to show up and to just to give back what jiu-jitsu has given me, which is a sense of purpose, a reason not to get fat, which I still get fat. I had a McFlurry today, but it's a chance to give something back. So jujitsu to me, if you embrace it, is a lifelong journey. I'm sure I'll be 90 years old on this show with you, um, and I'll be grappling against maybe it's Weston again. Maybe Weston's like 80, and we're gonna do like a part two. I don't know, but I'm gonna give back this year. So that's how jujitsu sort of evolved for me. If that made any sense, maybe it didn't.
No, it does. And I tell some of the people who are my age, I just go, we're going to be here forever, guys. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I do this so that I can be here for as long as I possibly can. So we're getting to an age now, though, where these kids who were these wonder kids are also now masters. So when I see JT Torres in the masters division, I go, well, first of all, chill, JT. Same thing, Lovato. Like, let the rest of us have some fun for a little bit. But it speaks to the culture as a whole, which is, yeah, you can kind of do this forever. So I feel like we'll all be seeing each other in some way, in some form, in martial arts for forever and ever. So yeah, I share that with you. I
Hey,
definitely,
Raph, I'm sorry. Can I just give a hashtag out to my kids?
yeah, of
Hi,
course,
kids. I see you online. Just want to say hi to all my kids. All four of them are online. So I want to tell you guys I love you. So thank you.
it's very. Hey, listen,
Only shout outs.
shout out the family,
My
of
daughters
course.
better be in bed.
That's a hold on. Are we Central Time over there?
Yeah. No, we're Mountain Time.
Your mountain time, man. I will tell you
Yeah.
this right now. I would not have been a good kid for you because I was always up late. So I
Yeah.
love the fact that you're telling these kids to go up and I'm like, yo, if you watch my show, it's just like staying up to watch like Johnny Carson or something. It's okay. My show's okay. Everything else go to bed. We got a
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
there
couple.
you
Raph.
go.
Hey,
What's
Raph.
up?
Can you? I mean, I can put the glasses on and pretend to be you and ask him questions. We could
Sure.
do that too. That's like a nice switch. But can you ask Weston how he's going to beat me?
I mean,
I don't think
that
he's going
was
to answer. I'm curious. I want to hear
Huh?
from his mouth like what he's thinking because
I
he's very elusive. So either he doesn't know or he doesn't want to tell me. But I'm playing her. Hi, I'm Raph. Welcome to the Grappling Hour. I'd like to
I
yeah,
already
yeah.
know.
Hey, so Weston, you're fighting Raph. That's great. No, so he already knows. Okay, that's good.
I already know how I'm gonna beat you, bro. I'm gonna give you a heart attack.
Fucker.
I'm gonna beat you
That's
by
good.
heart attack.
That's good. That's good. Is that technically a way to win? It is, right? Is
I
it
don't
by
know.
heart attack? Is that cardiac tap?
Could be.
Is that what that is? It's
Could
cardiac
be.
tap.
I mean, the ref's gonna raise your arm and it falls limp. I mean, winner. Kidding,
I
kidding.
just hope the cameras can adjust the light to really get a hold and see you, not all your tattoos. Look like a big black spot. I hope they can do that for you. That's all I hope.
Hopefully, hopefully,
That's all I
hopefully,
hope.
hopefully. I wonder if
I'll switch
Botox
you
takes off
Botox
tattoos.
sponsor. I'll switch you a Botox sponsor if you switch me a tattoo sponsor. Because God forbid nobody has that many tattoos without having a sponsor. No way.
Do
It's not
you do you
possible.
think if I inject do you think if I inject my tattoos with Botox they'll go away? Maybe we could work something out with
Maybe.
that.
It's good. It's good. It's good. Sorry. Sorry, Ralph. Go ahead.
How did all of that just happen? Like I
I don't
legitimately
know.
I had that in my back pocket when we were going to be done. I was going to do that, but then all of a sudden I lost control and I didn't have the show anymore.
Look,
So
look. Weston's pissed off because they canceled Dog the Bounty Hunter, so he doesn't get a chance to be like an extra or get a get to be one of the guys who like maces somebody. Like he doesn't get a chance to jump in there as one of the security guys. But I'm sure there'll be other opportunities after this fight on national TV. He'll probably get, if I'm guessing, he'll probably get a couple B-level roles in a couple gangbanger movies. So we're gonna be good to go.
Yeah, at least I'll make some money some way. I'm just honestly jealous of your Botox sponsorship. Honestly, to be honest,
Man,
I'm jealous. I'm sure you're making good money off that. It's crazy.
man, can you see my forehead right now? I'm really mad, but you can't tell. Joking. Joking.
Great, great.
I love the fact that to me right now I can see you guys doing this, and there is a playfulness to this. So for me, this is all in good fun. I enjoy it, but I mean, I know both of you are pretty much going to throw this out the window come weigh-ins. So I think up until there, it's going to be all in good fun, and I'm sure I'll see you guys shoot back and forth on each other. But I feel like, as you both have alluded to, things change once you see your opponent face to face. So I
Yeah.
guess, I was going to ask what you were going to bring for this fight, but why don't I just do this? Why don't I just put the camera on both of you guys? And I'm going to put the camera on both of you guys, and I'm going to go one at a time. And I want you to tell me what people can expect when they see you guys compete against each other in November. So again, this is a split screen. They could see you both in this one. And I want you guys naturally just to react to whatever the other person's saying. And you can go ahead and cut each other off. Feel free to do whatever you want. The camera, gents, is on you. And I'm going to go ahead and put the emphasis over on Weston right now. Please go ahead and tell us what people can expect to see when you guys enter the cage.
From me, it's I'm going out on my shield no matter what. It's going to be nonstop movement, transitions, scrambling. I'm going out there to break some limbs or put them to sleep. I mean that's my ultimate goal. I mean I'm not going to purposely break your limbs. I would never do that. But you know, I'm trying to win. I don't do anything to lose. I do everything to win. And if I could get a win over uh, a jiu-jitsu world champion black belt, that would be another notch on my belt, and it would be a very, very big victory for me. I'm gonna work hard for it.
John?
Yeah. First and foremost, that night's going to be about the troops, okay? But when that cage closes, I want to make sure that everybody watching at home understands this, and those that know me best. You'll never find a fight picture wrap after a fight or a video or any of my fights where I'm ever looking up. Okay, after I win, if my hands raised, I'm never looking up, and the reason why is because for that 9 minutes, I am a version of myself that I don't like, but I have to be that version of myself to show up and give the fans and the troops and to survive. I will not remember when the cage door closes, but I will promise Weston one thing: on November 11th, live on the strip, he's going to get the best version, which unfortunately for him is the worst version of me. And I say that with love. I say that with kindness. but I will not purposely hurt anybody, nor will Weston. But I'm a different person when that cage door closes, and I intend to honor Weston. I intend to honor Weston's father's memory by being the best version of myself that night. And I promise you, on November 11th, you're going to get it. You're going to get everything you asked for.
Yeah, and that's the main goal I think for both of us is to put on a show for the fans, and the ultimate purpose of why we're doing this is for the troops. So we're basically giving a little piece of our souls, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot. A lot of people don't understand the kind of training you have to do, and the time away from your kids, the time away from, things that you enjoy to do, to be in the gym. It takes a little bit of your soul with every fight camp, and we're giving a little piece of our soul to the troops, and it 100% worth it. So I'm gonna give everything I have.
True. Thanks, Weston.
Well,
Yeah.
gents, I think that's if you're not hyped by listening to any of this, I don't know what is going on with your heart. You should probably check yourself. I just know this. You have two game competitors, different experiences, a lot at stake, but at the same point, a shared version of how these guys are going to bring it and give you a show. And I have to say thank you to both these gentlemen. John, as always, it is a pleasure to see you. Weston, it is a pleasure to meet you. Before we sign off, I always like to give an opportunity for you guys to plug and give shout outs to anybody you want to. John, you're always so great about talking about the teams that you work with. I know you've got teams. I know you actually have your jiu-jitsu team as well. And then Weston, just remind people where they can see your guys fighting and give a shout out to anybody who's helping you get ready for this match. John, I'm going to go ahead and put the camera on you first, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. So I want to first off thank Team Drysdale, Robert Drysdale, partially from the beginning. I was a Silvio Bearing early person, but I transitioned to Drysdale. My life, my career, I didn't win a world championship until I got there. Coach Greg at Fight for Us Jiu Jitsu, that is my home gym. That is where I'm at most always. Greg's going to be in my corner that night. I'm going to have some really high level people training me that night. I'd like to thank Tough Enough. Tough Enough is the largest organization in the world, largest amateur. They're the one that are hosting this. So all the cage, the lights, all the things that you see isn't free, but they're paying for all of it. They're donating it that night. Jeff Myers, by far one of the best individuals. And Vinny is the one that actually created the event, right? So Vinny he'll be there as well. And then finally, I'd like to thank Randy Couture for having the vision, the fortitude to plow through all the things, the red tape, to be able to put this event together. And I just finally, the most important person I want to thank, Raf, if you just give me the chances, I just want to thank our troops, men and women in uniform. I don't care if you're active duty. I don't care if you're not active duty, former military. You provide the blanket on which we all get to sleep comfortably. It's a blanket of freedom. It's a blanket of comfort. It's a blanket of safety. So I want to say thank you. It is an honor, and I know I speak for Weston, to be able to step in that cage for you and for all you do. We're never going to be able to pay you back for all that you've done, but thank you. And November 11th, we're going to get an opportunity. And then finally, Raf, we are going to be promoting this where they can buy tickets. They can buy tickets for someone to come, even if you can't come. Please show your support. Philanthropy is not about donating $1 million. It's skipping the Starbucks coffee. It's skipping a round of drinks and providing that for the troops. So thank you so much. And Raf, thank you so much for having us on this show. We really, really love you. And I love Michael Jackson too. I see him in the background.
Yes.
Yeah,
I see
I
him on
know.
the
I love that poster.
Listen, guys, I got to be honest. That's the greatest album of all time. Let's just be
Yep.
honest. It's the GOAT.
Yeah.
It's too many
It's
bangers on
great.
that one. Quincy Jones
Yep.
at the top of his game too. Everybody. So appreciate that. Weston, the camera's going on you. Give a shout out to all of your team and let people know when they can see them fight and where they can see them fight and where they can come train with you if they're in your area, sir.
Okay, yeah. I'd like to take, my team, my coaches, my striking coach, Sean Vedro, our wrestling jiu-jitsu coach, Victor, my whole team, all my fighters. So October 27th, Fort Hall, Idaho. It's going to be at the Shoshone Bannock Casino and Hotel. Um, we got 5 guys fighting there. For Team Lionheart MMA, go look us up on Facebook. We don't have a website yet, but We just got a Facebook page. You know, most importantly, I want to thank, you know, John and, you know, everybody in the promotion for having me and giving me the opportunity to do something special like this, you know. It's I'm very, very appreciative of it. Um, and, you know, obviously, thank you to our troops. Most importantly, thank you guys for everything that you have done. And I'm ready to go out on my shield for you.
I love that. Hey, listen, you picked a hell of a way to have your first grappling match, which, by the
Yeah.
way, seems incredibly absurd when you have an MMA fighter where you're like, well, that's part of it. So I can't wait to see what transgresses between you guys. And again, already, congratulations for getting this all together. I look forward to seeing and hearing more about it. Gents, I'm going to say bye to you off air, but I'm going to close out this. Just hang around for just a second, and then I will see you guys momentarily. But my thanks, John, Weston, pleasure, you guys. I'll talk to you off air in just a moment, okay?
Alrighty.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Just a couple quick reminders. Number one, if you could do us a solid, go on over to, and this is going to be the shitty camera. I don't think I had time to fix it. Here we go. Bam. You know what? Screw this. I got that back. Look at that right there. Go check us out. Hideout page /Grappling Hour. If you want to see my interviews 30 days before anybody else, go on over to Hideout page /Grappling Hour. And if you just want to support the show, $5 a month. And for a few extra dollars, you can check out tape studies, extra episodes like who I respected the most. Yeah, we ask our athletes that. We ask their thoughts on steroids. We do extra special bonus content. You can see me going through a table or not. And you can also check out very, very fun stuff like a segment called Roast Raft, where people go ahead and roast my competition footage or rolling footage, whatever they want to make fun of. It's pretty easy. So do that. Hideout page /Grappling Hour. And if you would be so kind, switch camera, whomp, back. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell us who you think is going to win in the comment section if you watch this video and you made it this far. Maybe you have nothing to say. Just tell us who you think is going to win. You guys have been putting it in the chat all day long. Tell us who you are repping. Team Valentine, Team Weston, whatever you guys got in the comment section. Let us know and keep getting the word out here about this super fight. I'm so excited to hear more about it and see it. Also, it's going to be, again, live television. Keep your eyes and ears out. November. One last thing, join the Grappling Hour Discord. And guys, I got to tell you, I think that's going to do it for us. Keep it locked here because all week we have new episodes that are going up this week for free on YouTube. That's right, the 30-day embargo about to expire. And the guest list has been phenomenal. You don't want to miss it. It's been 20 days of interviews back to back to back to back for free. And including one just this month that we did with Cody Steele, who, as we mentioned earlier, won at Fury. Just telling you, we get those interviews before anybody else. I don't see anybody else doing it. It's us. So it has been a blast to see you guys. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you guys back on the mats.
I thought that went well.
Yeah, I thought you guys did great. Good job, you guys.
Good job, Weston. That was awesome.
Thank you. I'm usually not